Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are taking a necessary and maybe even a slightly uncomfortable look at personal finance.
hmm
Specifically, how these really small, consistent habits can just completely shift your entire financial future.
Yeah, and our mission today is really about cutting through the noise.
Exactly.
We've been digging through sources that really get into the difference between, instant gratification
Right.
and the quiet power of investing just a small amount, say £100 a month.
And we're trying to pull out the shortcuts for you, the key insights on things like compound interest, disciplined investing, and I think importantly, how to get past those common money myths that, keep us spending instead of building.
So where do we start?
Well, to set the stage, we kind of have to start with this opening story from one of the sources, and it's quite jarring, honestly.
Okay.
It's this vivid image they paint of the 5,000-pound jacket I never wore.
Oh, I think we all have one of those.
We all have one, right? Maybe not a jacket, but you know the purchase. It felt absolutely critical in the moment. That high-end impulse buy that you sort of justified to yourself, only for it to end up, gathering dust in the back of the wardrobe.
And the sources use that one moment, that one decision, to ask a really painful question.
They do. They force you to look at that 5,000 pounds and not just regret spending it, but to calculate the true agonizing cost of the lost opportunity.
So not just the money spent.
No, it's the money that money could have earned if you had just put it to work instead.
Exactly. And that's what the sources are really getting at. They call it your very own financial sliding doors moment.
I like that framing.
Every single time you face that decision, buy the thing now or invest for later, you are literally choosing one life over another.
This seems so small at the time.
It does. Buy the jacket or invest the money. But the divergence between those two paths, say 15 or 20 years down the line,
Yeah.
it's absolutely colossal.
It really challenges that idea that you need a huge salary or some kind of inheritance to start building wealth.
It does. The core insight here is that your ultimate path isn't really determined by your starting capital. It's determined by the discipline of your small, consistent decisions.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's talk about this engine of growth. Because I think when most people imagine investing, they think of, I don't know, complicated trading floors or needing a huge lump sum.
For perfectly timing the market.
Right. But the sources suggest the most successful strategy is actually, well, it's far more mundane. It's habitual.
It is.
The first key concept they mention is the magic of a habit.
Yeah, and they're so clear on this. Successful investing is not about getting rich quick. It's built almost entirely on consistency.
A steady, manageable rhythm, like that 100 pounds a month we mentioned, rather than, waiting for some big windfall to finally get started.
And that consistency, that habit, it's so powerful because it's the main way to tap into the real secret here, which is compound interest.
The engine itself.
The engine itself. Now, we don't need to define what it is,
No.
but we do need to appreciate what it's doing here. It's the thing that turns your linear contributions, your 100 pounds every month, into exponential growth over time.
Which brings us to the next big strategic insight from the sources.
Why time is your secret weapon.
This is so important.
It's critical. When you consistently invest that small sum, especially early on, the duration of the investment often becomes more valuable than the initial amount you put in.
So the 100 pounds you invest today has more power than the 100 pounds you invest 5 years from now.
Way more. Because it has 5 extra years for that compound magic to work. That's the difference between just adding up your money and actually watching it grow on its own.
And this commitment to consistency, this habit, it also unlocks a huge advantage, both mechanically and psychologically.
You're talking about pound cost averaging.
I am. And the deep dive here isn't just that it exists, but why it matters so much for that person investing 100 pounds a month.
Right. It's basically the automatic antidote to that fear of timing the market.
Yeah.
When you commit to investing that fixed 100 pounds every month, no matter what, you automatically buy more shares when prices are low and fewer shares when prices are high.
It just happens automatically.
It just happens. And that does two essential things. Mechanically, it smooths out the market's ups and downs.
Yeah.
But psychologically, and this is maybe more important, it just simplifies the process so
You
much.
could take the decision-making out of it.
Completely. Investing stops being this stressful is now a good time decision and just becomes an automatic habit.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting because the sources move from the theory to this Very visceral comparison.
Yes.
They illustrate this whole divergence idea with two characters who make opposite choices. They call them the spender and the stasher.
A tale of two futures.
Exactly. Let's start with Bella, the spender. She consistently chose instant gratification. Her journey created what the sources actually quantify as the 6,000-pound trail of treats.
A trail of treats. So what does that include?
Well, think about all the small to medium splurges over, say, 5 years. The expensive weekend trips, the fancy takeaways, the newest phone.
Right. Not huge purchases on their own.
No, but when you add them all up, they represented a potential 6,000 pounds of lost capital.
And the key point is that Bella's satisfaction was immediate, but it was also fleeting. She basically consumed her future capital for present pleasure.
And that 6,000 pounds, it's gone. Zero financial return.
Now contrast that with Chloe, the stasher. She had the same budget, but she made a different choice.
Right. She committed to channeling that money, that same 100 pounds a month, into what they call the 6,000 pound seed of growth.
So instead of a trail of treats, she was planting seeds.
Exactly. Month after month, just methodically planting those seeds.
And this is what leads to what the sources call the great divergence.
This is where the numbers they get staggering. When they crunch the numbers over a longer period, maybe 15 or 20 years, you get this section called what 8,200 pounds really looks like.
And that 8,200 pounds, that isn't just the difference between their initial pots of money.
No, not at all. That 8,200 pounds represents the growth on Chloe's invested money compared to Bella's, her empty spending trail.
So Bella has a 0-pound return on her 6,000.
Right. And Chloe's 6,000 has compounded significantly, creating this massive gap in their net worth, all from that one small, repetitive, monthly decision.
It's the numerical proof of opportunity cost. That divergence is driven entirely by those earliest investments that had the longest time to compound.
It really hammers home that those small daily habits, the treats, they don't just feel insignificant. They actually represent a serious erosion of your future wealth.
And if you want a really simple way to think about it, the sources bring up the cost of a coffee habit, revisited.
We've all heard this one.
We have, but the shift here is psychological. It's not about denying yourself a coffee. It's about realizing that by switching, say, 4 fancy coffees a week for 2, you've suddenly found that 100-pound-a-month capital.
You found Chloe's path.
You've found Chloe's path. It transforms the coffee from a simple purchase into a potential investment tool.
That's a great point. It frames it as strategic reallocation, not deprivation. Okay, so we've talked about accumulation, but building wealth, as the sources highlight, is more than just numbers.
It's about protection and utility.
And to get there, we have to challenge this core myth that the source material tackles head on: why cash is not king.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Because my first thought reading that was, wait, surely cash in a bank account is the safest thing.
That's the common misconception, and it can be really dangerous for a long-term investor. The reality is that just holding large amounts of cash is, it's a losing game.
Because of inflation.
Because of inflation. The sources really emphasize this. While the number in your account stays the same, its purchasing power is being eroded every single year.
So your money buys less and less.
Exactly. If inflation is, say, 3%, and your savings account is earning 0.5%, you are actively losing 2.5% of your wealth's value every single year without doing anything.
Wow. That really reframes the whole point of investing. It's not just about getting richer.
It's a defensive move. It's about preserving what you have against that invisible threat of inflation.
So to grow your wealth, or even just maintain it, your assets have to be working for you.
Precisely. They have to be generating returns that at least beat inflation. So by committing to Chloe's 100-pound habit, you're actively moving your money out of that inflation danger zone.
And once you start doing that, the practical benefits go beyond just beating inflation. The sources talk about unlocking passive income and gaining what they call your silent business partners.
I love that phrase.
It's great, isn't it? This is where the whole thing starts to feel less like a chore and more like you're building real momentum.
Absolutely. Once your money is invested in assets, it starts to generate returns on its own, dividends, interest, growth, without you having to do anything day to day.
So your money starts working for you.
It becomes your partner. That's the ultimate utility of this whole thing. Your assets start contributing to your income while you sleep. And this habit, it gives you real power. It allows you to overcome Bella's future regret, and it gives you the confidence to challenge all those money myths from consumer culture.
Okay, let's move to the psychology of this because it's critical. Why is this 100-pound habit so easy to break?
A big part of it is that we are constantly confronting financial FOMO.
The fear of missing out.
Yes, exactly. That fear is what drives the impulsive spending, what creates the 6,000-pound trail of treats. We feel like we have to have the newest gadget or the immediate experience.
Because the future reward feels so intangible and far away.
While the instant gratification is powerful and it's right here, right now.
And psychologically, we're wired to heavily discount future rewards. The sources suggest that our internal battle is really driven by the stories we tell ourselves.
What do you mean?
Well, Bella tells herself, I deserve this now, or I'll start investing when I get that pay rise.
These are just narratives, stories that justify the immediate spending, and they mask the huge opportunity cost.
So how do you fight that?
Well, the sources suggest that the key to rewriting those stories is to make the future feel more real. Use the concrete visualization of compound interest. Know that the 100 pounds spent on dinner tonight could be worth hundreds, maybe thousands, in 2 decades.
You have to make that future reward feel more compelling than the present desire.
That's the mind shift.
It is. So instead of feeling deprived, you start to feel strategically empowered, like you're giving your future self a gift.
Exactly.
But what if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, I've already spent my 6,000-pound trail, and then some?
Well, the good news, as this source states really emphatically, is that it's not too late.
That's reassuring.
It is. Transformation doesn't require a total life overhaul. They focus on this idea that your next 5 years start now.
It's about the present moment.
It's all about the present. It emphasizes that the difference between continuing on Bella's path and switching to Chloe's is just the one decision difference.
The one decision.
It's the single decision you make today to allocate that 100 pounds to an investment account instead of an impulse buy.
Yeah.
It's about the power of now, not regret for the past.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The core takeaways are, I think, crystal clear. The power of consistency, starting small with something manageable like 100 pounds a month. The primacy of time over the size of your initial investment.
And the very real danger of that instant gratification spending, which, when it adds up, creates that vast divergence in your wealth.
A completely different future.
Ultimately, building wealth it's less about finding some secret formula and much more about making a promise to your future self.
I like that. A promise.
It's a promise to prioritize tomorrow's security and growth over today's fleeting pleasure.
Yeah.
And that promise, it demands that you start. Not when you feel ready or when the market looks perfect.
But right now.
But right now.
Fantastic analysis. Thank you for guiding us through this deep dive into how these small financial decisions can really create monumental destinies. Apply these insights, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.